Before the whole world was covered with water, when God's great judgment came upon humanity, there was a man chosen by God for a very mysterious mission. He was Enoch, the descendant of Jared, known not only for his intelligence and skill in the arts, but above all for his righteous and faithful way of life. His pure life before God was the reason why he was granted a privilege that had never been given to any other mortal. Enoch was taken up into the secrets of heaven, into the very heavens where the Creator dwells. There he witnessed the mysteries of eternity, places filled with light and order, where all beings act according to the command of the Almighty. There he saw beings made of light, angels shining brighter than the sun, and he heard the songs of the cherubim, beings who never ceased to praise God forever. What was shown to him had never been revealed to any other person. And here began the heavenly journey of Enoch, the first person in history to witness the 10 levels of heaven himself. His experiences were written in what is now called the second book of Enoch. But for your information, the second book of Enoch is not included in the Bible because it was considered by the early churches as an apocryphal text. This means it is spiritual and can be considered important, but it is not an official part of the canon of the Bible. It is believed to have been written around the 1st century before Christ, so it may have originated from ancient Jewish traditions about heaven, angels, and the journey of the soul. These are topics that are rarely discussed in the Bible itself. And now, let us begin. The calling of Enoch. At the age of 165, Enoch had his son Methuselah, who would become the oldest person in history. According to the Bible, after 200 years, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. One day, on the first day of a new month, an unexplainable sadness came into his heart. While he was lying down and sleeping, tears flowed from his eyes, even though he didn't know why. And at that moment, 2 beings he didn't know suddenly appeared by his side. They were tall and majestic. Their faces shone like the sun. Their eyes blazed like fire. And from their mouths came fire that seemed alive. Their garments were purple. Their wings were as shiny as gold, and their hands were white as snow. They stood by Enoch's bed and called him by name. Enoch woke up and greeted them right away, but he felt an overwhelming fear. His face was filled with amazement. One of the beings noticed this, and with a firm yet gentle voice he said, "Do not be afraid, Enoch. We were sent by the eternal God. Now you will ascend with us to heaven. But before that, instruct your children and household on what they should do while you are away. No one should look for you until the Lord returns you." Enoch did not ask any questions. He obeyed the command. He left his home and went to the place the angels had shown him. There, he gathered his children. They were Sinamitu, Rahim, and Gad. And in front of them, he delivered the message of the messengers from heaven. "Listen to me carefully, my children. I do not know where I will be taken. I do not know what awaits me. But remember this: do not turn your backs on the Most High God in exchange for false powers or things made only by man. For all who follow evil will face destruction. May God grant you courage and wisdom to live with fear and reverence for Him." After he spoke, Enoch added, "No one should look for me. Only when it is the Lord's will, I will return." And after he said this, the angels lifted him up from the earth. Their wings shimmered in the light, and Enoch ascended into the clouds. His ascent into the mysteries of God began at the first level of heaven. First heaven, the sea of light. In the first level of heaven, Enoch saw an immense ocean, a sea of light and water that was vaster than all the seas of the world combined. There he was brought before the ancient rulers of the stars, angels who are guardians of the galaxies and constellations. He saw 200 angels watching over the movements of the planets and stars. They are the ones who maintain the rhythm of the universe according to God's command. They fly along the paths also used by celestial travelers, beings who pass between the heavens. When he looked down, Enoch saw large chambers made of ice. the storage for snow and rain, guarded by powerful angels. There, he was also shown the source of the clouds and where they would go after completing their duty on earth. He was also shown the place of the dew, which looked like olive oil, shiny, fragrant, and giving life to flowers all over the world. All of those are under the careful watch of the angels, who open and close those chambers according to the will of God. And there Enoch understood that even the simplest things we see on earth, like rain, snow, or dew, have a divine guardian in heaven who commands when they will come. In the first heaven alone, Enoch already saw the order of all creation, and he knew that the next levels would reveal even greater things. 2. The prison of fallen spirits. From the first heaven, Enoch was taken up to the second level of heaven, a place he immediately noticed was different. Here, the darkness was deeper than any shadow he had seen on earth. There was no sun, no moon, and it seemed that even the air itself was filled with sorrow. As he looked around, he saw spirits imprisoned in the darkness, beings who were once powerful, finished and waiting for eternal judgment. Their forms were more terrifying than the darkness itself, and their ceaseless cries echoed in the air like the screams of thousands of souls. Enoch was surprised and asked the angels who were with him, "Why are they crying without end?" One of them answered, "These are the spirits who turned away from God. They chose to follow their own desires and rebelled together with their leader, who is now in darkness." Then in the fifth heaven, when Enoch heard that, he was filled with sadness as he looked at the prisoners. Some of them called out to him, "Servant of the Most High, have mercy on us. Pray for us." But Enoch replied, "I am only a man. How can I pray for the angels? I don't even know what awaits me or who will pray for me." After that overwhelming view, the angels took hold of him and brought him to the next one. The third heaven, the paradise of light and judgment. When Enoch arrived at the third heaven, he gasped in shock. The surroundings were full of light and beauty, a view that no human had ever seen before. He saw thick trees growing with fragrant fruits that sparkled on every branch. The air smelled like a celebration, sweet, clean, and seemingly full of joy. In the middle of that paradise stood the tree of life, the sacred place where the Lord rests. When he descends into the garden of heaven, the tree is so beautiful. The leaves shimmer like gold and blood, the fruits glow with red, gold, and fire, and its roots are planted at the boundary between the earthly world and the divine world. From that sacred tree, two springs flow. The first flows with milk and honey, and the other with oil and wine, symbols of blessing. From there, it divides into 4 great rivers that gently flow through the Garden of Eden and then throughout the whole world. There is no tree, no fruit, no corner without grace. Everything is alive. Everything is full of goodness. All around, 300 angels shining with light guard the garden. As Enoch passed by, he heard their song, voices that seemed like a mix of song, prayer, and praise. Enoch was amazed and said, "This place is so beautiful." But the beings who were with him answered, "Enoch, this garden is for those who remain faithful even in the midst of great trials, for those who turned away from evil, for those who judge with justice, for those who feed the hungry, clothe the naked, strengthen the weak, and care for the orphans. They are the ones who live righteously before God and worship him faithfully." But Enoch was also shown the dark part of the third heaven. There is a river of fire that burns endlessly, a place filled with heat, cold, thirst, and fear all at the same time. He saw beings chained up while the guardian angels were stern and merciless. They held weapons made for punishment. The cries seemed endless. Screams echoed in the darkness forever. Enoch was terrified and shouted. This place was horrifying. And the angels replied, "This is the fate of those who turned away from the Creator. They are the ones who indulged in sin, destroyed nature, and did evil to the innocent. Here are the witches, those who spread hatred and lies, those who oppress the poor, and those who neglect the hungry and the suffering. They are the ones who worshipped man-made gods, lifeless idols without breath, without hearing, and without sight. And now they face eternal judgment. This darkness is their final reward. After hearing that, Enoch bowed his head, while his angelic guides took hold of him again and brought him up to the fourth heaven, where even greater mysteries awaited. Fourth heaven, the highways of sun and moon. As I ascended to the fourth heaven, I was amazed by the roads of light traveled by the sun and moon. They moved like a perfect clock, precise, uninterrupted, and dazzling in their brilliance. I noticed that the sun was brighter than the moon, and its movement was as swift as the wind, never stopping day and night. Along with it moved the four principal stars, quick note, principal stars, guardian stars assigned to the directions of the journey. And around each one there are 1,000 small stars. In total, 8,000 stars follow the sun's daily route, while 15 legions of angels continuously serve it. Quick note, a legion is a large unit of an army. Here it means there are many angels in one group. At nightfall, 1,000 six-winged beings appear, led by angels to open a path through the darkness and allow the sun's radiance to continue. There are also beings called lighters. They are the ones who keep the sun's flame burning, so its fire won't die out. I also saw the amazing beings connected to the sun, the phoenix and Shakadri. Their feet are like a lion's. They have a tail and a head that resembles a crocodile, and their bodies shine like a rainbow. They are enormous. Each one is 900 units long. Quick note, unit is an ancient measurement. Think of it as a step or a span in the old celestial scale. And they have 12 wings, like those of angels, staying close to the sun to carry its heat and dew wherever God commands. From the east I saw the sunrise. It follows the rhythm of the seasons, the months, and the cycle of the year, precisely dividing the hours of day and night. There are 6 portals or gates where the sun rises. Each one measures 61 1/4 stadia in width. Quick note, stadia is an ancient unit of distance. Think of it as hundreds of meters in modern measurement. That's where the sun passes, precisely measured and always on time. The sun moves through these gates in balance and returns along the same path as the seasons progress. When the route is completed in 4 cycles of the year, the full cycle is marked and 1 whole year is finished. Afterwards, my guides brought me to the west, where there are 6 more gates facing those in the east. These are the exits for the setting sun. Everything is aligned with the 365 1/4 days of the solar cycle. The sun passes through the western gates, and when it disappears from sight, only a trace of its light remains in the sky. But its radiant corona remains before the Lord, while 400 angels guard the holy light. At that time, the sun descends to you. It goes beneath the earth through a secret passage and rests for 7 great hours at night. Half of its journey is in the lower realm, and at the 8th hour, it once again approaches the east, returning light and warmth. When it rises, its blaze is even fiercer than fire. At that moment, the phoenix and Shakadri, the singers of the sun, sing, and all the birds in the sky flutter as if celebrating the arrival of the bringer of light. And at the Lord's command, their choir resounds. The bringer of light has arrived, shining throughout the world. The God of the morning introduces himself through the rays of the sun, and the sun rises again to brighten the world. The rays and the holy light shine together on all of creation. I was also shown how the movement of the sun is measured, and how it passes through the sacred gates that mark each hour of the year. Because of this, the sun is considered one of the most powerful creations. With a complete cycle of 28 years before its appointed course, the path of the moon begins again. After that, another mystery was revealed to me. 12 great gates from west to east, through which the moon passes during its appointed times. In the first western gate, the moon stayed for 31 days. In the second, also 31 days. In the third and fourth, both 30 days. In the fifth and sixth, 31 days. On the seventh, 30 days. In the eighth and ninth, 31 days. In the 10th, 30 days. In the 11th, 31 days. And in the 12th, 28 days. Just as it enters from the east, the moon also returns to the western gates to complete its cycle. This route is aligned with the 365 and 1/4 days of the solar year. However, the lunar year is only 354 days. That's why there's a 12-day difference. This is called lunar seasons. These differences are adjusted in cycles of 532 years. A quarter of a day is subtracted in the first 3 years and then added in the 4th year so that the total time matches, and the 2 months don't become longer or shorter compared to the others. And when the sun finishes its journey at the western gate, it returns to the east. An endless circular journey that is repeated with every sunrise and sunset. It moves faster than any wind, spirit, force of nature, or flying angel. Every angel included in this cycle has 6 wings and follows a pattern that repeats every 19 years, divided into 7 sacred cycles. In the middle of the sky, I saw the army of celestial warriors praising the Lord with drums and strings. Their voices never cease, so sweet and varied in melody, beyond the capacity of any human language. As I listened with reverence, my mind grew quiet and my heart was filled with peace, and once again the guides led me onward, upward toward the 5th heaven, where the leader of the rebels and the guardian archangels await. 5th heaven, the Grigori, watchers in chains. As I ascended to the 5th heaven, I was greeted by countless oceans of powerful beings known as the Grigori, or the Watchers. They looked human, but their size was even greater than the largest giants recorded in history. Their faces showed signs of exhaustion, and their eyes were filled with sadness. The whole place was silent. No songs, no praise, only silence. I asked the angels who were with me, "Why do they seem sad and quiet? Why is there no praise here?" They answered, "These are the Grigori who turned away from the God of light, along with their leader, Saturnile. Some of them have already been cast into the darkness of the 2nd heaven. 3 descended from the throne of God to a place called Urban, on the shore of Hillman. There they broke their sacred vow. They fell into lust when they saw the beauty of the daughters of Pagdala, and they took them as wives. Because of their transgression, giant beings were born who spread violence and chaos on the earth. Because of this, God passed judgment on them. Now they are suffering as they await the final judgment on the day of the Lord. I approached them and said, "I have seen your brothers and the result of their disobedience." I prayed for them, but God's answer was firm. They will remain on earth until the end of the world. I asked again, "Why are you still here in silence? Why haven't you returned to service before the wrath of God finally comes?" They listened quietly and suddenly sent a message to the 4 corners of heaven. In an instant, 4 trumpets sounded at the same time, loud and deafening. The Grigori stood up and sang together a sad yet moving song, a voice that rose up to the throne of God, as if it were a lament of repentance. After that, the angels took hold of me and brought me up to the next level of heaven. 6th heaven, the keepers of order. When I arrived at the 6th heaven, I saw 7 groups of angels shining like the sun. Their faces were brighter than any light seen on earth. They all had the same appearance, clothing, and demeanor, like an unshakable army of peace. They are the keepers of the order of heaven. They observe the movement of the stars, the motion of the moon, the path of the sun, and the balance of the entire cosmos. When they see injustice or a deviation from God's law, they give orders and guidance to restore order. Their voices are like songs of praise, gentle yet powerful. With every note, it feels as if the universe moves along. There are also angels assigned to specific tasks. Some watch over the seasons and years. Some are assigned to rivers and oceans. Others take care of fruits and crops. And there are those who stand as watchers over every blade of grass to make sure that all creatures have food. There are also angels with the sacred duty of recording the soul of every person. Every deed, word, and thought of the living is written before God. Among their ranks are 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, creatures with many wings who bear the throne of God, and 6 winged beings who sing without ceasing. Their voices are so beautiful and powerful that no one can describe them in words. Their song praises the Most High, timeless, boundless, and without rest. And again the men who were with me that night showed me the way upward to the higher heavens, the 7th heaven. 7th heaven, the throne of light. When I arrived at the 7th heaven, I was enveloped by a blinding light, like a sea of fire and gold. In the distance, I saw great armies of archangels with blazing wings, along with forces invisible to the eye, powers, authorities, and spirits who guard the throne of God. The cherubim and seraphim were there, beings with 6 wings who are always in the presence of God. Even those called thrones were there, spirits who are the seat of his power. Their bodies were pure light and eyes. Their watch seemed endless. There were 9 levels of glory there. Each one had a different rank and role in the hierarchy of heaven. When I saw this, my body trembled with fear and reverence. But the angels who were with me said, "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid and stay back." They pointed to the thrones. They were enormous, raised above everything, and surrounded by eternal light. Because of my awe, I asked, "What is beyond this? What can be found in the 10th heaven?" They answered, "That is where God himself dwells." In the Hebrew language, that heaven is called Arabat. In that sacred place, all the celestial beings gather, standing on 10 levels of honor, according to their rank and role. They all sing together. Then they return to their places, continuing to sing endless praises to the eternal light. Around the throne are the cherubim and seraphim, beings with 6 wings and many eyes, who never leave the presence of God. They remain there to fulfill his will, singing together, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of his glory." As I watched all of this, the 2 angels who were with me spoke, "Enoch, our command to guide you ends here." After saying this, they left me alone at the boundary of the 7th heaven. I trembled in fear and fell to my knees. I whispered, "What is happening to me?" And there the Lord sent a radiant being, Gabriel, the archangel. He approached and said, "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Come with me. You have been appointed by God to stand before him forever." But I, overwhelmed by fear, prayed silently in my mind, "Lord, it feels like my spirit is about to leave me because of fear. I trust the angels who brought me here, and I believe they are bringing me to you." After I said this, Gabriel lifted me up like a leaf carried by the wind, and he brought me right before the face of God. As the light lifted me up, I began to recognize myself. 8th heaven, the heaven of stars. When Enoch ascended, he reached the 8th heaven, which in the Hebrew language is called Musalot. Here, the changing of the seasons is governed, when it will rain and when the drought will end. Here also dwell the 12 constellations, or clusters of stars that revolve above the 7th heaven. From here you can see the movements of the universe, an orchestra of light that follows a single melody, the command of the Creator. 9th heaven, the kingdom of the constellations. After this, Enoch was brought to the 9th heaven, called Kokavim. Here reside the 12 signs of the zodiac. Each one is fixed in its place in the sky. From this place, God's beings observe the movements of the planets and stars, as if writing in the air the passage of seasons, months, and years. 10th heaven, Aravat, the throne of God. And finally, Enoch reached the highest of all the heavens, the 10th, called Aravat. When he lifted his gaze, he saw the face of the Lord, like iron freshly taken from the fire. It was sparkling, blazing, and burning with an indescribable light. No words could describe the glory of God. Enoch said, "Who am I to try to describe the indescribable? His glory is beyond what man can imagine." Before him flowed thousands of voices, instructions, songs, and the voices of seraphim and cherubim. Creatures of light with 6 wings sing unceasingly around the giant throne of God, a throne not made by human hands. Because of the intense light, Enoch fell to his knees on the ground, but he heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Be strong, Enoch, do not be afraid. Stand before me forever." At that moment, Archangel Michael arrived. He lifted him up and brought him closer to the throne of God. Then the Most High said to his servants, "Let Enoch remain before me forever." All the beings around the throne bowed and answered, "Let it be according to the word of the Lord." Then God commanded Michael, "Remove from Enoch his earthly garments, anoint him with my holy oil, and clothe him with garments of glory." Michael immediately obeyed. He anointed Enoch with the oil of heaven. It was brighter than any light, gentle as dew, and with a fragrance that brings peace. And when Enoch looked at himself, his body was shining like the beings in heaven. He was no longer like a man. He became a heavenly being, the books of wisdom. Then the Lord called the wisest among all of us, the archangel Pravel, who is the recorder of all the works of God. And God said, "Bring here the books from my chambers and give Enoch the finest pen and writings. Teach him all the mysteries of heaven and earth." Pravel approached, and he began to teach Enoch all knowledge, the secrets of heaven, the oceans, the wind, thunder, lightning, the movement of the sun and moon, the cycle of seasons, and the laws of nature. He also showed him the number of angels and the manner of their songs. He revealed to him the laws of God, the language used in creation, and the song of the beings of light. Then Pravel said, "Sit down, Enoch, and write all the souls that will be born, as well as the places that God has prepared for each one forever." Every spirit was already planned before the world was created, and at the command of the Most High, Enoch sat down and wrote. He wrote down everything that was shown and revealed to him. In the end, he finished the 366 books containing the visions and mysteries of God that were entrusted only to him, the calling of God. After this, he was called again by the Lord, and in a gentle yet powerful voice he said, "Enoch, come closer. Sit at my left beside Gabriel. Everything you have seen, everything that has been created and will happen, I have revealed to you. Before time even began, I have been walking in eternity from one end of heaven to the other. I am the one who laid the foundation of all things, who made the visible from the invisible." And there Enoch ended his great journey through the 10 heavens. He passed through the kingdoms of light, the prisons of the fallen angels, the storage of the stars, and the throne of the living God. He saw the punishment of the disobedient and the reward of the faithful. And with every view, a single truth echoed. God reigns over all, both in heaven and on earth. Enoch was chosen not only for his holiness, but also to write down everything he witnessed. An eternal testimony, a message that crosses every generation. It is a warning, a hope, and an invitation to return. Now, you who are listening to this story, what will you do with this revelation? Will you turn away from the truth, or will you choose to walk the path of light and faith? The book of Enoch is not just a record of visions, but a call, a reminder of God's glory, the weight of judgment, and the beauty of his eternal plan. May we all choose faithfulness so that on the appointed day we too may stand before God, clothed in his glory, like Enoch.